I'm going to say something that's apparently controversial these days. I can't quite believe it myself, but here we are. Steps towards peace is a good thing. Still with me? Okay. We're one of the few apparently, because if you saw the talks between Trump and Putin, and then the talks between Trump and European leaders, including Zelensky, and you thought, hey, we might actually be getting somewhere, your views might not be as widespread as you think. Because apparently, this whole week was just one big disaster.
Trump got back on Air Force One after the meeting with no ceasefire, but also no consequences. Not only no severe consequences, but no consequences for Putin of any kind.
We'll get into that one a bit later, but let's go through the week-long timeline of a true media meltdown and how they're completely misrepresenting what's actually going on. So it started with Trump's meeting with Putin in Alaska. Now, to end a war, you need to either win, lose, or make peace. And in a war with such a stalemate as this one, options 1 and 2 are off the table. So really, the only way to end this war is by talking to Putin. But apparently, that action alone is elevating Putin on the world stage and legitimizing him. But here's the thing, the second you have control of nuclear weaponry, you're on the world stage, a point Secretary of State Marco Rubio made.
Critics of President Trump will say the pomp and circumstance, the red carpet, the warm handshake, that President Trump simply lost that Putin gained there just by being on the world stage and walking down a red carpet with the president. Your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, critics of President Trump are always going to find something to criticize. You don't even pay attention to it anymore. But I will tell you this, Putin is already on the world stage. He's already on the world stage. The guy's conducting a full-scale war in Ukraine. He's already on the world stage. He has the world's largest tactical nuclear arsenal in the world and the second largest strategic nuclear arsenal in the world. He's already on the world stage.
I always love that way of framing a question, like critics would say something, like it's not me saying it, I'm just the journalist, you can't be mad at me, but critics might say, insert political point I'm trying to make. Now, the next thing the left-wing media objected to was how Putin was treated, because Trump literally rolled out the red carpet for Putin and staged a flyover and instead of doing the left-wing's preferred method of high-stakes international negotiations, which must be hanging out in a fraternity basement on a couple of beanbag chairs and splitting a packet of Doritos.
Your newest is Trump's self-owned summit with Putin. Your it is not on this, but it says even the subhead, thank you, even the puffery-prone president can alchemize his non-deal with Russia into Trumpian gold. And one poll quote that we have, nothing says standing up to Russian aggression quite like welcoming the aggressor on a red carpet and applauding him.
I love the idea that the flyover is apparently legitimizing Putin instead of just a stern reminder of what the US is capable of. But to the point, the last thing you want apparently for Vladimir Putin, a helplessly vain dictator you need to play ball if you want peace, is to think you're taking him seriously. All right, now after those talks happened, the media pile-on moved on. They'd had enough of that one. They moved on to saying the talks were a complete disaster because the war wasn't over after one discussion with one side of the conflict.
Trump got back on Air Force One after the meeting with no ceasefire, but also no consequences. Not only no severe consequences, but no consequences for Putin of any kind.
Now, if I were Rachel Maddow, I would wait just a couple of days before I was so definitive about talks being a failure. But I get it. The show must go on. It's on every night, and the dwindling audience demands Trump paranoia, and by God, you must give it to them. But if she had waited just a few days, she would have then seen that the talks with Putin then led to even more productive talks with Zelensky and European leaders in the White House. Now, you got that? Trump apparently elevates Putin by taking him to frozen Alaska, but at the same time doesn't elevate Zelensky in Europe by meeting them in the White House. Struggling to keep up? Don't worry, I am too. Now, then the media meltdown moves on to my favourite take of the week. Honestly, this is my favourite by far. The idea that European leaders travelled to the White House because they were scared Trump might bully Zelensky.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow.
As if Zelensky and all those European leaders can't sleep at night because they're so scared of another occasion like this one.
Thanks.
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet.
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
In this
We
cabinet.
gave you through
I
this
said, thank
stupid
you.
president $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
So what about West
If you
again?
didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
Now, look, getting into an argument like that with Trump in front of the international media must be unpleasant. But bullying? Zelensky is the president of a nation that has been at war for years. You're telling me that he can't take a little tiff with Donald Trump and now he needs backup? How infantilizing of someone the left themselves thinks is a hero keeping Europe from darkness. And then the idea that Zelensky, battle-hardened Zelensky, needs to hide behind the coattails of world-renowned big dog Keir Starmer. Like, Trump is going to say, well, I was going to lose my temper, but then Keir Starmer would be mad at me, so I better check myself. Beyond me, but Marco Rubio again set the record straight.
No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
And if it somehow was the case that Trump's only intention for these talks was to bully Ukraine into a bandit deal and stand over Zelensky, he went about it a weird way because it seemed to me that everyone was getting along.
President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, looks good on
I
you.
said the one that attacked you last time. See, now I remember that.
Yeah, I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. You see, I changed. You are not.
Maybe yours is much better.
And after those talks, European leaders seemed pretty happy with how things went. The US even agreed to sign a deal on security guarantees, which would be weird to do for the US if they were just about to hand the joint over to Russia. Here was Keir Starmer's reaction.
Yeah, well, today's meeting was good and constructive, and there was a real sense of unity between the European leaders that were there and President Trump and President Zelensky. And we had two material outcomes. The first, on the question of security guarantees, was the agreement that the coalition of willing countries, that's 30 countries already working together on security guarantees, will now work with the US on those guarantees, coordinating, and we have already commissioned our teams to do the detailed further work on that.
Man, poor Keir Starmer, one of the most important press conferences of your career, and the media is just going to be looking at that thing on your lip. Ah, well, he got what he wanted, and that's the most important thing. The bigger point here is this. It's clear we are much closer to peace in Europe than we were a week ago. Donald Trump was even caught on a hot mic saying that Putin wanted to make a deal. The world's speculating on what that means, but you could reasonably assume that it's at least something to do with efforts to make peace.
Great. Thank you for being on. Yeah, I think so.
To set up a trilateral, you know. So.
And where do you want to do?
I think he wants to make a deal. I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that? As crazy as it sounds. Here, sit down. Sit down, everybody.
Okay.
This is, without a doubt, a positive development. This war has gone on far too long and too many people have died. It's time to find a way to end this war that both sides can agree to. But for some in the media, the overwhelming need to hate Trump and give their audience the Trump criticism that they crave means that they have spent the entire week hoping peace talks fail spectacularly for TV ratings. That is a sickness, and it's not responsible to the audience or to society. When Trump does bad things, we're all free to criticize him. But when he has wins, it's okay to report those too. And even if you hate the guy, you should at least hope he does a good job. Okay, thanks for watching. Always appreciate people listening to me for reasons beyond my control. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sky News Australia below so you don't miss any of our videos. There are much better commentators on here than me, so hit that button and the content gets even better. And let me know what you think in the comments.